Hey, good people. It is KaCey here. Most of you know me as co founder and executive director of Helping Empower Youth, or as we know it in these Atlanta streets. Hey, Atlanta. Hey, Coach Boy. So I'm going live here and then also on Instagram. I have not done one of these in a long time, but there has been a lot that has transpired over the last couple of weeks, particularly as we have come out of our summer programming that I wanted to give you all updates about. Just have some conversation and see where it goes. I'm gonna try to keep these. Hey, try to keep these. Hey, Georgia. Um, keep these to like 30 minutes or less because y'all know I like to talk. I get really impassioned about things, but it's important for us to note. So, the catalyst for this one, though, is a recurring theme that keeps coming up around the same time of year. I have to admit that I am also guilty of not keeping this as a proactive part of the advocacy work and the support work that we do because we know that senior year comes around every single year. And we have been very fortunate within our program to have graduating seniors consistently for the last 3 years. So excited when, no, next year will be 4 years. I'm always so excited when I get to go to these graduations and the young men, hey Lil, hey y'all, coming on in. The young men are always so curious about how I get down on the floor when I'm not supposed to be on the floor. But I tell them that's not their concern. That's mine to make sure that we're there to celebrate them in all its full glory and for me to act a whole fool because I understand how we got there. So I say that to say every year we end up with requests to help pay for senior fees. And I posted a request to ask for folks to make donations. Now, I'm never sure how people want to be recognized. We received a $10 check in the mail, and they specifically asked us not to send them anything, put them on any list. They just wanted to support. Again, other folks have made donations. You know who you are. So, want to say thank you to always supporting the work as well. But we have graduating seniors, and while we will do the things that we need to ensure that they can participate in all of the festivities, I posted on my Facebook page to try to drum up support. Y'all are always talking about let the internet aunties know what the boys need, and that is what I did, right? And so some folks have reposted, reshared, made contributions and donations, and we're grateful. The larger question in this, though, is why must we do this every single year? I mentioned the Facebook post because I began to get into some conversation. That wasn't a back and forth. I know this individual personally, so I understand their heart, their intent, and so it was not contentious. But I wanted to make it clear that I do not believe that any child, regardless of socioeconomic standing, meaning they got money or they don't, they black or they white, right? That does not matter to me. Any child, any student that has matriculated all the way through K through 12, has reached the pinnacle of senior year, should not have to pay student fees for things that are related to academics. Okay? Going to prom is a choice. I think that every young person who wants to participate in that and they are in good standing and all of that should have the opportunity to do that, even if they need a little bit of support. Um, you know, all the extras are dependent upon what that young person desires to participate in, where they have the means, the funds, but things that are related to academics, like paying for their cap and their gown. Why are they responsible for that? Paying for graduation dues and fees. I paid my graduation dues and fees when I matriculated on time or got back on track K through 12, right? That is my personal philosophy. Tons of reasons why people say folks should have skin in the game. Again, for a lot of young people and their families, the skin in the game is getting to school every day and getting to graduation. So I threw out this idea that I could care less who takes credit for it. If you have the time, because I sure enough don't, to facilitate and manage and get this idea off the ground. Take it, run with it, take all the credit you want from it for it. Because if you don't know anything about me by now, then you should know I don't do this for name recognition. I understand that name recognition helps open doors, right, to continue funding the work that we do, but I don't do this because I want my name called. I do the work that I do because I want our young people to succeed. My idea is we have roughly, last count by my research, is 26 Fortune 500, Fortune 200, and Fortune 100 companies, right? And if you don't know what those numbers mean, basically they're in the top 500, the top 200, the top 100, and for-profit corporations. We have 26 Fortune 500, Fortune 200, and Fortune 100 companies combined in the city of Atlanta. They either have major hubs here or are headquartered here. For the life of me, I have not read anywhere where this is something that cannot legally be done. For the life of me, I have not figured out why we have not partnered one of these major corporations, major corporations, with our high schools in the Atlanta Public Schools District. On average, the number of high school students who graduate and the amount of fees associated, literally a $20,000 donation can be made to those schools through those foundations, put a pin there, to take care of all the academic focus fees for students and have money left over to help support, undergird, partly fund, whatever you want to call it, those extracurricular things that are just celebratory, i.e. prom, senior picnic, trip, whatever that looks like, for students that literally have done the work. They've stayed out of trouble, right? They're in good academic standing, and maybe their families just need a little bit of financial support. The money is there to be able to do that, right? Hey, Dubai. Hey, friend. So I don't understand, again, in all the work that I've done. Now, mind you, let me give you a little quick primer about my experience. I have worked in what I call school adjacent in the nonprofit sector over 20 years now. I have been in and out of these schools on various levels. We're not even going to talk about my classroom experience, right? I'm just talking about the support that I've given to schools, to administrators, to teachers, to students, to families within school settings. I've been doing this work over 2 decades. So I'm not new to this. I understand the politics of education. I understand the navigating within the walls that have to be done. So I say all of that to say, not every school has a foundation. That's an issue right there, right? Secondly, why haven't we done the work to say, hey, and y'all know I love calling out folks, Coca-Cola, Home Depot, Amazon, UPS, AT&T, Lyft, Uber, NCR, Equifax, right? Mercedes-Benz, Toyota, right? Like these companies that have these major hubs here. Why haven't we gone to the Metro Atlanta Chamber of Commerce and said, hey, here's a great philanthropic, community-focused type of initiative that you as the Metro Atlanta Chamber of Commerce can even spearhead, right? To figure out who and where in these companies would love to jump on kind of this pilot program to make sure that every graduating senior in Atlanta public schools can do so without having to come out of their pocket for fees. We're not going to talk about the fact that Atlanta Public Schools also have a 2.7 billion, be like boy, $1 billion budget, 55,000 students. We know 55,000 students don't graduate every year, and yet we still have requests to help pay for student fees. Just need y'all to make it make sense for me, right? So that is why I put those things out there. Again, Coach Boyd and I do what we do, sometimes with little to no means. I know people see us, right? Because of the requests that come in my inbox, the text messages that I get, the commentary that I receive when I meet people in real life. Y'all really think we got more than what we got. I'm here to dispel that myth right here, right now. What we operate on a whole lot of times is grace, mercy, and some favor, and my ability to be scrappy, meaning my ability to make something out of nothing because my intent and my drive is to ensure that these young people have what they need. So I will create something out of nothing, right? Y'all know me, I live my life faith filled and faith led. So I operate in all of my father's full creative ability, and literally calling something out of nothing is what happens a lot of times, right? It's tiresome, y'all. Just being honest. It is tiresome. Right? Hey Nia, hey boo. It is tiresome to have to keep doing that over and over again, but we refuse to let these young people down. So I put the request out there to help make sure that these young people get exactly what it is that they need in order for them to be successful. Hey Dre, and I responded to you, sir. But um we don't always have the ability to meet all the needs. And so we also don't believe that it should be our responsibility or the responsibility of those faithful few organizations that have been in the ground time after time, making sure that their kids have what they need. Y'all know I will forever shout out Tangi and Maria at Raising Expectations. I will forever shout out CJ and Kelly Stewart over at Lead Center for Youth, right? I will always shout these organizations out because they have proven themselves over and over and over and over again, have been doing this so much longer than Coach Boyd and I have. And we meet the need of different types of young people, even if we're in the same geographic location. I highlight that because organizations like ours should not have to always figure out how to make it happen. And so we do put it out here. I know we do put it out here for other folks to be a part of it, right? For other folks to contribute to it. So that is my first plea to you all today is if you are interested in helping to support young people who have done what they've been asked to do, who are excited about graduation and who have to have their student fees paid, we would love for you to donate to the cause, right? I am trying my best to free up time to really build an infrastructure necessary to do some of the things that we keep hearing about over and over again. And really, y'all, sometimes all it takes is money. And when we talk about partnerships, when we talk about support, we always talk about things that try to keep people from exchanging money. The reality is that money makes the world go round. Money answereth all things, and money is going to be the reason why some of these folks have a chance or they don't. So to always try to find our way around something that does not require people to have to come out of their pockets is not going to be the answer. Sometimes you have to dig in your pockets and you're going to have to give. You're going to have to sell, right? You're going to have to make a tangible investment in the lives of young people, particularly if you want to see them do and be better. I particularly put that call on folks who have a whole lot to say about young people, in particular Black boys, right? Because I can't tell you what to do with your money, and I don't know where you make other investments. But if you're not making investments in the demographic of people that you have the most to say about, either start digging in your pockets. Hey, Omar, I miss you. Start digging in your pockets or shut up. Now, this phrase, shut up, we were taught that it was not nice to say. I'm deciding I don't care about that. I made a post about that a couple of weeks ago. I know it's not nice, but sometimes it's the only thing that's going to get you to understand the severity of the situation. So, great that you make donations to billion-dollar nonprofits, right? Great that you make donations to organizations that directly impact your family. I'm saying to you, that if you're not going to also make a donation to the demographic of young people that you are very critical about, then shut up. That's all I got to say about that. Okay, so moving on. I do want those of you who do understand my heart and the call to help us support, right? So again, thank you to folks like Cicely. And there's one other person, and I'm so sorry, I forgot this, why you don't call names, but they're the only two folks who have made a donation towards us getting these student fees paid. And so we want to extend the opportunity to everybody else, right? To be able to do so in whatever manner makes sense for you. Let me also revisit something. Now, we are nonprofit, we are nonpartisan, right? And so I'm going to refrain from calling out any candidate or campaign's name. However, once again, we have seen the power of grassroots fundraising to make a huge impact, right? So sometimes we believe that in order to make a huge impact, we have to give in a way that is that deserves, all donations deserve recognition. But sometimes we believe that in order to make a huge impact, you have to write $1,000 check or a $5,000 check. Now, we like those. We do. We like those. However, we have seen once again in this political climate the power of $5, $10, $2, right? We've seen the power of the many coming together with the quote unquote little that they have in order to make a huge impact. We are still in our campaign to get 100 monthly donors. We're about to reinvigorate that. You're going to see it a lot online. You're going to hear me talking a lot about it. And we ask people just $5, right? Exactly, Omar. Exactly. For those of you who are over here now on Instagram, one of my friends in the work says that we should be quiet, right? Or you should be quiet if you're not doing anything, and let us know who our people are that are going to help our people. And I agree with that. Um, Small donations matter. So we have this desire, this wish to have 100 people to donate $5. Y'all can't buy Starbucks for $5, right? $5 a month, not even a week. And for us, while the money helps continue programming, we're more focused on the 100. Why? Because I want to be able to tell young people 100 folks are rooting for you. 100 people want to see you successful. 100 people said they know that you have what it is inside of you to do and make the decisions that are going to sustain your life. Do you know how powerful that is to tell a young person who has already built a narrative in their mind that people don't care about them, that 100 folks stand with them, beside them, behind them, will go forward for them, right? To make the path a bit easier. Do you know the impact of a young person who has largely been told they don't have a chance to then hear 100 people support me? Think about that in your own life. If you knew you could tangibly count 100 folks that put their money where their mouth is, stood 10 toes down for you to ensure that you are going to be successful. While the money is going to help, it is the support of those people that are going to push you forward. Oh, thank you, Omar. You can Zelle us, and I'm putting it in the comments over here at programs at helpingempoweryouth.org. You can go there and make a donation. I appreciate you. Thank you. Um, thank you. And y'all know we show y'all what we do with everything that we get. So can't nobody say we don't do what we say we're going to do with what it is that y'all support us in, right? But the power of 100, right? The power of 100. 100% is completion, right? It is it's finished, it's done, it's accurate. There's nothing left to do when we think about it in that context. And so we want 100 people, right, to be able to stand 10 toes down with our young folks and to say, we got you, we support you, we are going to be here with you. And for us, that is super important. All right, I'm wrapping this up, right? Because I wanted to give y'all just some updates and everything that is happening. Let me tell y'all and let y'all in on like a private prayer I have just in case somebody knows somebody. Now I got a lot of private prayers, so let me be careful about what I say out loud. But one of the private prayers related to this is, Lord, either let me, love you too, Omar, let me hit the lottery. And I don't even have to hit at $242 million. Okay. Let me hit the lottery or introduce me to some wealthy philanthropist who needs to offload a lot of cash to reduce their taxable income before the end of the year and says to me, KaCey, what is your number? And I tell them my number and they write the check on the spot and initiate a EFT, an electronic funds transfer, however they want to do it, right? So let me just put that in our atmosphere. So those of you who are believers, right, we can come together, right? Where two or three are gathered, right? We will make something known. So again, either let me hit the lottery, Jesus, or send me a wealthy philanthropist that says, KaCey, what is your number? And I can tell them a cool $2 million, right? For them to say, girl, let me double that. I got you, boo. Right? That is my private prayer. And it's not selfish. The prayer really is, we don't want to have to be begging for funds, spending. Okay, because y'all know I get off on tangent. It's a lot in this nonprofit space. I really feel like I want somebody to fund. This is what I want somebody to fund. I want somebody to fund the opportunity for me to sit down on camera and really explain how the cycle of grant writing and grant funding is counterproductive to grassroots, on the ground, boots on the ground type of organizations. That's what I want. I want somebody to pay for production for me to be able to present it in a way where people are going to actually listen, to let folks know that grant writing, grant funding, the way that it is currently being done is counterproductive to organizations our size and for the work that we do. Okay. So this is why I'm just like, yo, write me an unrestricted check at this point so that we can fund the work without having to beg people in the form of grant writing and letters of support and all right, asking for sponsorships. I want folks to understand, hey there, how are you? It's been a minute. I want folks to understand why unrestricted funding, right? And two organizations that have proven themselves, who are trusted, do more than restrictive grant funding. That is why you constantly see us asking in a very non-traditional way for support to our organization. We're writing the grants, we're getting the grants, which is also a telltale sign that we're doing what we're supposed to do, because we have a pretty high success rate in being awarded the grants that we apply for. We don't get every one of them. Nobody gets every single one, right? But we have a pretty high success rate. We're hovering around like 80% or so, which is almost virtually unheard in the world of nonprofit for an organization our size, who does not have a development department, right? Who does not have a formal grant writer on staff. It's mostly me, okay? So with that said, it still hinders what we're able to do. Let me give you a very real example. Some federal grants do not allow us to purchase food. Now, for the young people that we serve, feeding them is necessary for the programming that we do, which means I then have to go find another funding stream to feed children, because the federal government and some of their grants, most of their grants, won't allow you to buy food. I mean, is that not part of just a need as a human, physiologically, bio? So that is a clear example of why you can get a grant and still have gaps. There are some grants that don't allow for you. Yes, because we work for them. I get that. But still, like, it is just mind blowing. So one of the comments, again, I know those of you can't see on Instagram, says that they don't allow us to do that because we work for them, um, or because we work them. I get that, but again, I'm just saying another point as to why this grant writing philanthropy space needs a complete and total overhaul. But those of us who know this, we don't have time to lead that charge either. Right? We don't have time to lead that charge. But one of the other things is that we've had to become very strategic in how we build in the time for the folks who then have to facilitate programming. And so I'm probably talking too much at this point. Um, yes, we have to feed them because we work them hard. Yes, absolutely. But we are not able to just write a line item in most government grants and really in most corporate grants either to say we need $10,000 for this person's salary, because my question in my head that I really want to put down on grant applications is, well, if you give us the money and we don't have anybody to facilitate the program, how do you get your measurables and your metrics met? Because who gonna do it? It goes back to the idea that subconsciously in this sector and even in the public view, there's an assumption that if you are in nonprofit, you are doing this for free. There's a lot of this work that I would do for free. Let me let you in on a secret. I am doing it for free. Read between the lines there, okay? So if we're not able to add two things that are critical to the success of our program, then it means we're constantly in this cycle of having to beg for money. And I use beg on purpose. That is why unrestricted dollars is like the holy grail to nonprofits, because it allows for us to do the things that restrictive grants won't let us do. Right? Here's another little key for you in case you didn't know. Nonprofits are still businesses. I can't tell you the number of people who say, "Oh, well, what do you mean you're trying to get paid?" I'm like, I gotta pay rent, mortgage, car note, insurance, utilities, all those things too. Like, what you mean? Like, I do this full time. I'm not supposed to be compensated. Now, let me tell you how I could do this full time without compensation. A very wealthy spouse, a trust fund. I have hit the lottery, right? And then I could very well say, yeah, no, I don't need to figure out how to get paid. I don't need to figure out how to pay Coach Boy. I don't need to figure out how to pay Hadia and Guernsey and Taylor and Destiny. I don't have to figure out how to pay these people because we just write the check. That's not this over here. And it's not that for most organizations, right? That really are boots on the ground and who have a grassroots focus. That's not what this is. So again, that is why we look for unrestricted dollars, right? To be able to take care of the things that grant funding will not allow for us to take care of. We experienced that this summer, right? So we were hosting a summer job youth training program, had to redo the budget, because when I submitted it, I built in some funding to pay summer supervisors. Had to completely scrap that, right? And revisit the age of the supervisors that we would be able to hire, if we could hire more than one, because the funding will not allow for us to pay for adults. But again, we got 15 kids in this space. How do you expect for us to engage them 6 hours a day, 5 days a week for the entire summer if they're not adults in the space? And even though people don't go into these funding practices with the idea of assuming people should do them for free, again, subconsciously, we've embedded in our culture that, oh, it's nonprofit, they will figure it out, somebody will volunteer, or that's not our worry. But if everybody has the idea of that's not my worry, then whose worry does it become? Ours. On top of everything else that we're doing, right? For whoever our target demographic is. So, again, this was just really a chance to chat with you, talk to you, because it's been a while since I've done this. I think it's important. Y'all know these kind of lives started during the summer of 2020 when Coach Boyd and I, along with some phenomenal support people and support systems were on the ground every day at that corner, right, of Ivan Allen and Northside Drive, or Northside Drive and Simpson Road, right, Joseph E. Boone, depending on what side you rock with. And I understood because people told me how much they appreciate knowing in real time what is happening. A lot of times we package so much of our content because it's just the nature of the world we live in today, right? Everything has to be quick. It has to be TikTokable, right? It has to be something that is, hey Tam, hey y'all, that has to be 30 seconds or less, or your attention span is non-existent. And so we've had to figure out how to package what it is that we do. But y'all, I can't package telling you how stressful it can be sometimes to get a request from young people that we can't immediately meet. And then my mind goes to, well, if this one young person had the strength and the courage to say something out loud, how many other people are suffering in silence because of pride or because of being told no so many times? They don't want to ask again. Hey. And so that's where I get stuck. I also, as I wrap this up, because I see I'm right over 30 minutes, but about a week and a half ago now, I guess, I dropped podcast, um, a new podcast episode. I'm going to put the link here for y'all if I can find it real quick. Um, okay, I can't find it right now, but I will get it somewhere. I will post it somewhere as I'm caught up over here. But anyway, I posted a new podcast last week called The Legacy of Black Women in Social Change. And it talks about one of my sheroes, Fannie Lou Hamer, is mentioned in there, but it also talks about the weight, right, of this work. In particular, how, again, subconsciously, we have felt as though Black women should just do this work because we've always done it and we've always done it for free. It's time for us to kind of rewrite that narrative as well because we've never done it for free, right? It's always been a sacrifice that we've made, sacrifice to our bodies, to our spirits, to our family dynamics, and however that looks. And it's unfortunate that we just update, right, and modernize what that sacrifice looks like versus making sure that those of us who are in this work are compensated accordingly. Again, if I was doing this work for money, I would have stopped doing this work because for as much as I have been taught well that when I leave the house, I look like something and I show up, that does not mean it is reflective of what happens behind the doors, right? And there are many sacrifices that I make in order for this work to get done because I believe this work is bigger than me. I believe this work is a seed for change. I believe this work is also personally, right, outside of the hat of an executive director, a personal call for me to walk in, which is why things get tight and I'll be wondering what's gonna happen. I thank God I'm not homeless, I'm not hungry. I can go to my car, I can turn the ignition, and anybody got me stopped on the road, right? But it doesn't lessen the stress because we have to continue to fight. When we see organizations that are flourishing, it is because there's been an infusion of cash. When we see organizations flourishing, right? That can then keep up with all of the bells and whistles that make people feel as though this is an organization you want to be connected to. It is because of an infusion of cash, y'all. And I have fully understood. Now, some people want to debate me on this, but they can't then give me proof of anything otherwise. Our work is harder to be attractive because of who we serve. I literally had someone in the corporate space, and I'm not going to call this person's name or the company they work for out because they were talking to me in confidence and they were talking to me because I pressed them for an answer. I asked them, what else do we have to do in order to get corporate sponsorship, in order to get some of these major family foundations to say, here's a multi-year commitment, here's $1 million over 3 years, whatever, 5 years, whatever that looks like. I said, what else do we have to do? I said, because I don't have the ability to make things pristine and pretty and, fully branded and all of that, because we just don't have that ability. I said, we are constantly on the news, right? We're constantly on the news showing the work that we do. Like people see the success, right? We talked about the young man that y'all rallied around because we got him moved into his first apartment. He was one of the water boys from, 2020. And he did what he said he was going to do with the money. And we've been walking with him every step of the way, right? We show you that what we do works. And he says to me, I hear you, I understand you, I believe you. The reason we can't do what it is that you need us to do beyond a $5,000 check here, $10,000 check here, is because when we go back to our board of directors, which are mostly white men, we are told that while the mission sounds good, do we want to invest our money in something that may still support the recidivism and the return in and out of jail of Black boys? And my response, well, if you fund it, we can do much better at making sure they're not in and out of Fulton County Jail. It is the chicken or the egg. The challenge is nobody wants to figure out, do I start this cycle of change or do I wait for somebody else? And again, the problem becomes everybody's waiting on somebody else. We have phenomenal support. I don't want to discount that. Our support is also grassroots, which means it's going to take more of us in order to make an impactful difference. And again, this is not a judgment call. I can't tell people or corporations where their priorities lie, where they should make investments, how they should donate their money. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that in order for this work to continue, somebody somewhere is going to have to make the investment. Because there are a lot of worthy causes, even if they're not people focused, environmental focused. This is the only home physically that we're going to have, Earth. We got to take care of it, right? I believe in animal rights, right? Y'all know I had 2 beloved pit bulls, right? That in old age had to transition, right? I love animals, most of them, right? Like cancer research, although we know the money is in the cancer and not the cure, but I understand there are a lot of worthy causes and people support those efforts and initiatives. I just always wonder why our Black boys are not high on that priority list too. You know? So yeah, that's that. I'll drop the links to the episode. I'm gonna be recording another one pretty soon. Y'all are gonna be getting like a lot more I don't know the word to use, but a large part of my own personal struggle has been not saying the things to rock the boat. Now, for as much as y'all know, I tell the truth, right? And that is a reputation I have crafted in this city, is that I will say the hard things, particularly when it comes to my boys, comes to our young people, comes to the community that I'm a part of. I don't have no problem telling you what I need to tell you. But there are other parts of this conversation that we need to have. And I'm going to be having them. And I'm going to be saying the things and sharing. And, that's also something that somebody has told me is maybe you shouldn't talk so loud about some of those things. I'm like, what, make people feel uncomfortable? We've been uncomfortable for 400 years. Folks will be okay. They'll be okay. So that's where we are, y'all. We are really trying hard to get these student fees paid throughout the course of the year, honestly, because every year, for the last 2 years anyway, we have taken a check over to Booker T. Washington High School in particular to sponsor and pay for fees for young people. We got a call in May, last minute, right? Around prom. We rallied together and we got those funds up. And so, again, we are always going to make it do what it do. Can y'all stop making me work so hard? That would be really, really wonderful if I didn't have to work so hard, if I didn't have to constantly create something out of nothing. And my last request of you is this. If you happen to know the winning lottery numbers, or if you yourself hit the lottery and you want to share your spoils, Help and Empower Youth is a great organization to sow into, to donate to. Okay. So either pray, I hit the lottery, you hit the lottery, or introduce me to one of your very wealthy friends, right, who want to break into this world of philanthropy. And they have the ability to write a check. Let's help reduce their taxable income, okay? Right? Let's help them while they help us, right? This is a win-win for all of us around. So thank y'all for spending a little bit of time with me today. I'm super excited about it. I'm going to try to get back to these on the regular and hopefully at times bring in other folks, right, to join in the conversation. So with that, have a phenomenal Monday. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.